right, I have exactly one take to get this right because my kids are at this cookie shop behind me called Crumble. Hashtag not an ad. Apparently they make the most delicious cookies in Florida and they have new flavors every week, but whatever. Okay, I'm talking about Hakeem Jeffries today. And I'm not talking about Hakeem Jeffries just to complain, be hyperbolic. This is absolutely outrageous. Hakeem Jeffries, for those of you who don't know, I think he's the opposition Speaker of the House or whatever that title is. He's a man who speaks more with his hands than I do. Except his hand gesture with his hands is totally unrelated to the thoughts coming out of his mouth, the things that are going on. It's crazy. It's actually like he's conducting an orchestra and he's the only one that hears the music. And if you listen to anything he has to say, if you follow this jackaninny on Twitter, you might know that his favorite words in the English language apparently are extreme MAGA Republican. This guy, if you just Google Jeffrey Hakeem, or Hakeem Jeffries, because that's actually his name, and extreme MAGA Republican, you'll come up with, I swear to you, 100 tweets on Twitter. If you go Google videos of him, he says extreme MAGA Republicans more than I say, I don't even know what my favorite expression is, crab apples. This guy says it all the time in every speech that he gives. Extreme MAGA Republicans are a threat to democracy. Extreme MAGA Republicans have taken over America. You cannot negotiate with extreme MAGA Republicans. And he also talks about, and I'm quoting, extremists on the Supreme Court. Extremists who have taken away women's rights by overturning Roe v. Wade. Extremists, whatever. He has this relatively hyperbolic rhetoric, and it's fine. You want to talk political crap and call people extremists, when in reality, the people calling the people the extremists are the extremists themselves in their dog whistles, in their rhetoric, in their actions, day-to-day actions, trying to lock up their political adversaries, trying to jail their family members, trying to jail their lawyers. So the ones calling people the extremists, if we're borrowing a little bit of the Joseph Goebbels, accuse your adversaries of doing what you are doing so as to create confusion, or what many believe to be a Saul Alinsky rule for radicals. It's basically just confession through projection in practice. Hakeem Jeffries walks around calling half of America extremists, 6 of the 9 Supreme Court justices extremists, and then he comes out with a tweet yesterday, as at the time of shooting this vlog, which says that we must protect American democracy and eradicate extremism. He tweeted this. We must cherish the Constitution, defend democracy, and eradicate extremism in America. Hakeem Jeffries at Rep. Jeffries.
Eradicate extremism.
Eradicate extremism. I think the only way he could have made that tweet even more offensive, more of a hyperbolic dog whistle call to violence, would have been if he said, we got to exterminate extremism. Well, I'm glad he went with eradicate and not exterminate, but he literally said we need to eradicate extremism. After spending the better part of 2 years persuading people, brainwashing people into thinking that MAGA Republicans are extremists. After brainwashing people into regarding 6 of the 9 Supreme Court justices as extremists. So this man who persuades, brainwashes his brain-dead constituents into regarding half of America as extremists, the majority of the Supreme Court justices as extremists, then comes out and says,
we need to eradicate extremism
in America. That is an overt call to violence. I won't even call it a dog whistle. That is someone brainwashing his followers to regard people as extremists and then calling on his followers to eradicate those extremists. Now, I will steelman this. Once upon a time, Matt Walsh, I think it was Matt Walsh, referred to eradicating the transgender ideology. And when he said that, when he tweeted that, people flipped their lids. People blew conniption fits because he was literally calling for the eradication of transgenders. It is hyperbolic language that I'm not sure is the best to use because it can be misinterpreted or deliberately misinterpreted by some, but calling for the eradication of an ideology is far different than calling for the eradication of something that you have already labeled as extremists. When you want to eradicate an ideology, you need not have adherence to that ideology. So somebody could, in theory, say, we need to eradicate transgender ideology, even if there are no transgenders on Earth, because an ideology doesn't need to have existing adherents in order to be an ideology that needs to be defeated, combated, whatever. But when you say eradicate extremism, after 2 years of referring to concrete people, specified people as extremists, you are doing nothing less than a dog whistle call to violence to your unhinged lunatic supporters to do something stupid, to do something violent. Hakeem Jeffries deserves to be sanctioned for what he did. hands down, categorically sanctioned. It's not a question of free speech. It's not a question of trying to get someone in trouble and trying to get them silenced. That is something that motivates someone to pick up a certain firearm and head to a baseball game type rhetoric. The dude who did that, shot up Scalise and the other baseball players, listened to Rachel Maddow, listened to Bernie Sanders. And if anybody's listening to Hakeem Jeffries, and for the last 2 years has been brainwashed into thinking that half of America are extremists who are a threat to democracy, and now they must be eradicated in the name of eradicating extremism, they know what they're hearing, and he knows what he's saying when he tells them to do that. All right, the kids are done. Wait, don't get in the car yet. They're done. They're back just in time. If you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure your notifications are turned on. This afternoon, as at the time of shooting this vlog, Gord McGill. We're going to talk Canadian stuff, and that's it. Serenity now. Serenity now. Peace out, peeps. Booyah! All right, you're good.
The extreme MAGA Republican agenda has nothing to do with the American people. The challenge that we confront is that the extreme MAGA Republican agenda, which is deeply unpopular all across America, the extreme MAGA Republican agenda is all about defaulting on America's debt, shutting down the government, crashing the economy, criminalizing abortion care, cutting Social Security and Medicare, impeaching President Joe Biden, and censuring House Democrats. That's the extreme MAGA Republican agenda. The time for extreme MAGA Republican partisanship is over. The time for extreme MAGA Republican brinksmanship is over. The time for extreme MAGA Republican gamesmanship is over. But the House Republican Civil War continues to rage on, miring the Congress in chaos, dysfunction, and extremism. House Republicans have chosen to triple down on the chaos, triple down on the dysfunction, and triple down on the extremism. House Republicans have selected as their nominee to be the Speaker of the People's House the chairman of the Chaos Caucus, a defender in a dangerous way of dysfunction, and an extremist extraordinaire. The American people almost uniformly agree that the right-wing justices on the Supreme Court are completely and totally out of control. It appears that Justice Alito is an insurrectionist sympathizer, joined by his right-wing buddy, Clarence Thomas. Jim Jordan is the poster child for MAGA extremism. He is a clear and present danger to our democracy.
Extreme MAGA Republicans want a nationwide abortion ban. The extreme MAGA Republicans want to strip away the ability of women to seek fertility treatment. Extreme MAGA Republicans want to go after contraception.
To the extent that the Chevron doctrine is undermined or eliminated, it will provide another example of the MAGA extremist movement, including on the United States Supreme Court, trying to jam their right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people. We are witnessing significant judicial overreach led by right-wing extremists on the Supreme Court.
We must cherish the Constitution, defend democracy, and eradicate extremism in America.